from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Your source for the Department of Energy's environmental cleanup news. Energycast starts now.
Hi everyone, I'm Summer Dash. Welcome to your July episode of Energycast. Let's get started with some Energy Bites. The Department of Energy plays an important role in our country. In honor of 4th of July, we're going to take a look at the history of DOE and where our work fits into that. Energy is in the name, but you might be surprised at what all the agency really does. Find out what prompted the United States government to create us.
Honestly, this was the highest dose rate item that I've been involved with.
Small but mighty, an item about the size of a paperclip was so radioactive, crews had to come up with a very specific plan to remove it. Debris scattered about in the East Cell Bank made it like finding a needle in a haystack. We've got video taking you inside this process. You'll see exactly how they did it.
This is going to be big. It's going to be something that, if you stop and think about it, what Oppenheimer did is one of the most significant things that has been accomplished in the history of the world. Now you think, Ray, you're overstating it. No, I'm not overstating it.
You heard it here first. We've got a sneak peek of the upcoming movie Oppenheimer. The film tells the story of the man known as the father of the atomic bomb. Much of his work happened right here in East Tennessee. We're talking to a local historian who worked with the author behind the movie, and we're getting all sorts of behind-the-scenes info ahead of the premiere. We hope y'all had a safe and happy 4th of July in honor of Independence Day. We wanted to show you how the Department of Energy's Office of Environmental Management fits into our country's operations. You know, we often get asked, what responsibilities fall under the Department of Energy, and what exactly does the environmental management team do? Well, it covers quite a bit, and there's some work you might expect, but other things that really might surprise you. So let's go ahead and take a look. DOE, as we know it today, was founded in 1977 to address the nation's energy crisis, but its roots go back much further. Cue the Manhattan Project. That was a top-secret effort during the Second World War to develop the first atomic weapon. When the war was over, these top minds kept working. Some continued building the U.S. arsenal. Many others shifted their focus to expand the boundaries of medicine, science, and energy. Today, DOE has sites and laboratories from coast to coast, working to keep the United States a world leader in research, technology, and innovation. Now, these sites are also working to keep the nation safe from threats abroad and protected from risks here at home. That's where DOE's Office of Environmental Management comes in. EM was founded in 1989 to address buildings and land impacted by decades of nuclear-related research and weapons development. That scope included 107 sites all across the country. Through continued progress, DOE only has 15 active cleanup sites left. Oak Ridge is one of them. The projects happening here focus on taking down old, contaminated buildings and cleaning up the soil and water around them. These projects are keeping the community safe, and they're also clearing space for research and national defense missions that address some of our nation's top needs for years to come. All right, so during this episode, we're going to be highlighting all sorts of ways you can get involved, from internships to full-time positions. We're going to show you the kind of opportunities in Oak Ridge through DOE. Oak Ridge has a long history trailblazing in the nuclear field. Governor Lee recently signed an executive order focused on that topic that has business leaders in the region really excited. The order is leading to the creation of a $50 million nuclear fund in the state's budget and a new 15-member Nuclear Energy Advisory Council. The council will make recommendations on legislative and budget changes, funding opportunities, and storage and waste practices. Funding should become available this month for projects in Tennessee.
We are very excited that Governor Lee has decided to invest $50 million into the nuclear energy industry, and he has also created the Nuclear Energy Advisory Council for the state, and we believe that Tennessee is the hub for advanced nuclear energy, and we look forward to continuing to advance these initiatives.
EM has a whole lot of cleanup projects underway and planned at Oak Ridge National Laboratory. We're getting a look at what it'll look like when they're done. Our team created a pretty neat model here that shows what to expect in the coming years. Most of the projects are focused in the heart of ORNL. That's the oldest part that dates back to the Manhattan Project. Workers are removing old research reactors and isotope labs that date back to the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. And you can see these projects will remove the old, make way for the new. These demolitions are eliminating hazards, and they're also opening land for new facilities to expand research capabilities at ORNL. Dangerous radioactivity in a piece of metal the size of a paperclip. The wire was found in an old hot cell at the Oak Ridge National Lab. Now you can probably barely see this, but there it is. This red arrow is pointing right to it, right there. All right, so small but mighty, right? It was quite the task to get this tiny object taken care of safely. We've got video, though, of how the team did it.
So originally, the hot cell was used to process highly irradiated material from reactors. The scope of the project was to remove highly contaminated material from the last remaining hot cell and demolish the structure.
About a year and a half ago, I think it was December 2021, we identified a hot source. Using a camera, we were able to determine that it looked like what seemed to be about a 6-inch wire, and it was the diameter of a paper clip. So very small. During the characterization, we identified 4,500 R per hour contact on the wire, and at 1 foot it was 20 R per hour. Honestly, this was the highest dose rate item that I've been involved with, and you know, when you look at hazards and the safety of personnel, it's very serious.
When we began the project on the final hot cell, we had to enter through the roof, and so it was protected by large and heavy shield plugs that had to be removed. And so the innovations there, we came up with a system to jack those up and remove the ceiling plugs, which was quite a challenge for the project. So the team utilized long-reach tools and a high-resolution camera in order to retrieve this hot wire. You can imagine trying to pick up the hot wire off a table, but then imagine being 20 feet above it, trying to get it with long-reach tools looking through a camera.
It was in a location in a plastic tote that was very deteriorated, and so the object for us was to remove it from the tote and put it in something in a 5-gallon bucket so that we did not lose this wire.
It took a lot of coordination. It started with the waste experts who determined how to package properly and meet the requirements for the disposal facility. And then we determined how to get the material into that configuration.
During the planning process, waste specialists of transportation, radiological engineering, work planning, we all got together, several walk downs, mock-ups were involved, and we needed to come up with a package that would shield the high dose rates on this particular item. The drum was lined with concrete and it had a hollow annulus. The bucket was remotely lifted using long-reach tools and placed inside the drum, and then the drum was brought out.
Making things official over at the East Tennessee Technology Park, Joanna Harden is the new Portfolio Federal Project Director. She's going to be overseeing all the cleanup projects there, scheduled to be complete in 2028. Now, she's been acting in the position since January. Harden has a master's degree in environmental science and successful history working with federal and state regulators. Her scientific work has brought her to sites all across the country, from New Mexico to Oak Ridge. That's why DOE leaders say she is well suited for this position. Okay, this is kind of cool. What you're looking at is a wearable robotic device called an exoskeleton. The team over at the Sandia National Lab in New Mexico started using these to protect workers. They recently taught our team how they can be put to use. There are all sorts of versions, like this iron hand, a chairless chair, and elbow support. Various applications exist for these items, from construction support to glove box work. The goal of introducing these to the Oak Ridge team was to determine if there were opportunities to use the wearables here. It's summertime, you know what that means. Interns are reporting to their new jobs in Oak Ridge for some very valuable experience. This year is the biggest yet for EM contractor United Cleanup Oak Ridge, or UCOR. 40 participants from 14 colleges all across the country have joined the ranks in a number of fields and positions. Energycast's Cameron Jacobs met up with a couple of them to see how their summer is going.
School's out for summer, but the education doesn't stop for these interns. They will spend the next few months getting on-the-job training. It's something current student and Army veteran Andrew Tomasetti knows all about.
And I'm using previous experiences along with current education to be involved in quality assurance at a place like Oak Ridge or UCOR doing D&D cleanup. It's a very unique opportunity, and I also have the experience of having a broad spectrum of work.
Michaela Hammonds is only a sophomore at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, but she's not new to internship programs as she works towards her degree in biomedical engineering.
I started interning corporate jobs my freshman year of high school. I started with a law firm, and then my sophomore and my junior year I interned at hospitals, and my senior year of high school I interned at a place for mothers who deals with substance abuse issues. Yeah, and then last year I interned for DOE doing research with wastewater treatment plants.
Internships offer value beyond projects and subject material. These opportunities also help participants figure out where they belong in the workplace. Tomasetti shared how he was feeling on his first day.
I was extremely nervous. You know, I am a non-traditional college student, so I definitely have a little more age than some of the other interns, and I'm younger than a lot of people I work with, so it's a weird area to be in, trying to find where I fit in at.
Michaela is also using this experience to meet and connect with students and coworkers across the country.
It's been going good thus far. We've had 2 outings with all of us together, and so I've been able to meet quite a handful of people and learn who they are, where they're from, what their major is, career, and from there I'm able to connect and see what opportunities that they've had that I could possibly get into.
In addition to their normal responsibilities, UCOR is offering interns networking events and community outreach projects to enhance their time in Oak Ridge this summer. For Energycast, I'm Cameron Jacobs.
The interns end the summer with a presentation to UCOR staff to talk about their time with the company. We're going to catch back up with them in a future newscast to hear what they learned. Roane State Community College is seeing savings thanks to a recent donation. UCOR provided more than 30 pairs of new prescription safety glasses to the college's Vision Care Technology department. Each of those glasses can cost a couple $100. Students are using them in a classroom clinic to practice prescribing and fitting glasses for workers performing cleanup work right here in Oak Ridge. Roane State's Vision Care Technology program is the only accredited 2-year program of its kind in Tennessee. Now, through this clinic, the school is also able to serve students, employees, and local residents. We've shown you the internship opportunities in Oak Ridge, but there are also fellowship programs. One of our communications fellows is going to explain that to us a little bit later, right here on Energycast. But first,
And Kai Bird, as you know, the co-author of American Prometheus, on which the movie is based, he has indicated to me, we had him here for a gala a few weeks ago. I had the opportunity to have dinner with him, so I spent about 3 hours picking his brain about what's going on. I asked him, have you been on the set? And he said, yes, I have.
it is the movie of the summer, and the premiere is happening right here in Oak Ridge. Oppenheimer hits theaters at the end of July. Coming up, we're hearing from a local historian who has already worked with people behind the film. We're going to find out what we can expect from the 3-hour movie. Here are the 5 big stories happening across the complex right now. We are bringing you major EM news from coast to coast. EM just finished evaluating its workforce needs for the next 5 years. These projections will help improve existing programs aimed at drawing in top talent. With major cleanup work scheduled to continue for decades, it is crucial for EM to plan for the next generation of workers. EM leaders have returned from a visit to France. They toured facilities and met with representatives from the French National Radioactive Waste Management Agency. During their time there, they learned about France's nuclear waste disposal methods and brought home lessons that can be applied to EM's current work. At the Hanford site, crews are making progress preparing one of the oldest buildings for demolition. 231Z was constructed in 1944, served many missions over 50 years. The immediate focus is on removing hazardous elements. Demolition is expected to start in 2025. The Energy and Interior Departments recently met with the Yakama Nation tribe in Washington state. They gathered to discuss the management of Rattlesnake Mountain. The tribe has historically used that area for religious and ceremonial practices. DOE is trying to improve the protection of tribal sacred sites. And DOE has announced $135 million for 40 projects aimed at curbing carbon pollution from America's industrial sector. Cutting down on these emissions from this sector is a crucial element of reaching a net zero emissions goal by 2050. A summer blockbuster focused on work connected to Oak Ridge is the talk of the town, have you heard? The Oppenheimer movie follows the work of a scientist tasked with a nuclear dilemma. It's based on the true events behind the atomic bomb created right here in East Tennessee. Major stars are bringing this story to life. Now, ahead of its big release on July 21st, we are talking with local historian Ray Smith to find out what to expect from the film.
These views of the most concentrated release of explosive energy in the history of mankind
is one of the most significant things that has been accomplished in the history of the world.
If you want to know about the past,
He went to General Groves and
Ray
said,
Smith is your guy.
out by K-25.
He's an Oak Ridge historian,
That's the largest one in the world.
in case you hadn't figured that out yet. Now, as you can imagine, he is quite excited about the upcoming movie.
I have focused on trying to learn as much as I can about what we're going to see. And I'm amazed at what's coming out.
Smith spent 47 years at Y-12 and now travels across the country giving presentations on the work happening here. And he's not the only one.
So there's a network of us around these nuclear facilities, especially the historians, those of us that are interested in the history. We communicate routinely and regularly. So when this movie came up, there was a buzz.
That's how he's been able to get the inside scoop. His first tidbit came from a local filmmaker.
Now, I learned this from Keith McDaniel. I don't know exactly where he got it, but Keith says that it's going to be in black and white and in color. And the black and white portions of it are supposed to be historically accurate. And then the color portion is going to be Christopher Nolan blending the story together.
Next, NBC reached out. The network recently released a documentary to coincide with the major motion picture.
So when I got contacted about the NBC documentary, I had to tell them, look, Oppenheimer wasn't here very much at all. But one of the pictures, and I'm hoping, they'll show this picture that Ed Westcott made of him in the guest house just a few yards from where we are in Jackson Square.
A few weeks ago, Smith sat down for dinner with American Prometheus author Kai Bird. The movie is based off that book. Here's what he picked up from that conversation.
And I've heard some comments that he's made, and they've all been very, very positive about the movie. So he has no reservations, evidently, about what Christopher Nolan has done with the story.
But we have no choice.
Once it's out, Smith will be heading to Chattanooga to watch the movie in IMAX on 70mm film.
It will help Oak Ridge in a number of ways because it's such a huge deal. Someone on a podcast just a little bit ago said they thought it was going to be the equivalent of The Godfather.
The 3-hour movie is expected to lead to an explosion in tourism.
Mark this date, July the 21st, 2023, as when things made an upturn.
We'll check back in with Ray after the movie premieres to ask him how accurate it was. He's going to be able to tell us what parts were real and what was just for show. That movie is rated R, by the way. Now, several events are happening across our area to celebrate the release. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. On July 19th, there will be a panel discussion for the community at the Oak Ridge High School for the documentary Oppenheimer After Trinity. You'll be able to hear from the movie director as well as scientists and local experts. That starts at 6 and is followed by a screening. On July 20th, some local businesses are hosting a premiere for Oppenheimer the day before the nationwide release. The red carpet will be rolled out at Cinemark in Oak Ridge at 7 p.m. The American Museum of Science and Energy, East Tennessee Economic Council, UT Battelle, and UCOR are putting on that event. We know some of you won't see this episode of Energycast until after those events have already happened, so if you couldn't make them or you missed them, don't you worry. Our coverage of the Oppenheimer movie continues next month right here on Energycast. Meantime, we've got some really fascinating historic photos for you to click through on our Flickr page. We've got photos of Oppenheimer himself right here in Oak Ridge. You can see images of the local sites getting built as part of the war efforts during the 1940s. Head over to flickr.com, search for the DOE Oak Ridge page. You'll find this album right there. With about 30% of our workforce eligible to retire in the next 10 years, there will continue to be so many opportunities to join the Oak Ridge team. It's really important to make sure upcoming graduates know about the work available here. One of our fellows is going to take us through the program she is in right now.
And it's about being connected and making examples and being a leader not only at your job, but in your community and with your outside life.
A year-long commitment to making our community better for years to come. 2 DOE employees are now graduates of the Leadership Oak Ridge program. Applications are open for next year's class right now. Coming up, you'll hear what these 2 took away and how you can get involved.
Brand our mission, because right now we have a generation of graduates that will look at all the postings, USA Jobs, ORI's postings, other postings, and they're zeroing in on that mission. They're going to zero in on what's the CDC doing, or what's the FDA doing with their mission. At the same time, they're doing the same thing for DOE. They're zeroing in on DOE's mission, so we got to be able to brand that appropriately.
We continue our coverage now of career possibilities within DOE. You just heard from the Director of Workforce Development for the Oak Ridge Institute for Science and Education. That group is managed by the Oak Ridge Associated Universities. ORAU is a network of more than 150 schools that connects students with opportunities. One of the most powerful tools we have to recruit new employees is through these fellowships. Right now, we have 2 fellows who came to us through this program. In fact, one of them works on this show within the communications team. Sierra Hellemans is a journalism student at the University of Tennessee. As part of her experience with us, she's going to share this next story with you.
We have multiple employees on staff thanks to ORAU's internship and fellowship programs. Students are given the opportunity to participate in hands-on learning experiences that can propel them into a career. Once they arrive on site, they're paired with a mentor to help them along the way.
The opportunities available through the program can pull people in new directions.
So I came in not really knowing anything I was doing. I'd never been a project manager. I worked at Target and I did a ton of studies for school and things like that. But throughout the program, I learned a wealth of knowledge, just shadowing all of the project managers that are here. And to this day, I still use a lot of the knowledge that I learned during that program.
Morgan Cardin has now held her position for almost a decade. Frank Brooks, a nuclear engineer, had similar roots.
This was my first experience into a professional realm or I'd been working blue collar to support my college. This allowed me to have that professional experience and how to conduct myself with a lot of people that are more professional and been able to lead me into that. And that's definitely has helped my career significantly.
Participants can choose from a variety of STEM positions at national labs, research institutions, or government offices. Then they're given a foundation and endless opportunities to learn.
So it taught me how to speak publicly and in a professional manner with all different types of people. I had never been in front of anyone in a professional setting, really. And so I learned what to do, what not to do, just by talking to the different people here.
The ORE program provides you a good, solid level to start at as far as what your career is. It gives you a taste of what it could be and if you like it or not.
For 75 years, the nonprofit organization has been a bridge between government agencies and universities. Morgan is now a mentor herself to OREM's newest fellow.
I saw this job and the description and thought that it'd be beneficial to anything I want to do, either federally after this internship or anywhere else, because the skills I'm learning are applicable to many different places. So it definitely made me choose that one because I knew that I could do something with it and it would really help me with my career. And then also being, considered an intern, but not treated like one.
If you're looking for a chance to learn, explore, and possibly change your career path entirely, ORAU's internship program might just be the way to do it.
If you're interested in working with us, we really hope you'll apply. So how do you become an employee of the federal government? Head over to the USA Jobs website to see openings and requirements. See that little box on your screen? Get your cell phone out, scan that with your camera. It'll take you to usajobs.gov. There are all sorts of jobs in all different fields open right now. All right, now let's turn the focus to two employees who have been here a while but are still learning. They just graduated from the Leadership Oak Ridge program. It's a year-long commitment to discover ways to get involved and make a difference in the community. So here's what the new grads had to say about their big accomplishment.
With the program, I made a lot of connections that I think are going to be career-lasting, lifelong lasting. We're still all in communication, trying to have get-togethers, but those are connections within DOE, connections within the community, so I've made those. As far as professional experience, we did work a lot on just your leadership styles and how to know what your strengths and weaknesses are, how to play into those, and also understanding, where you get frustrated as a leader.
People from all venues coming over to talk to us and how a leadership role is involved in those activities in the city, how we can benefit as a person, but from their standpoint it's going to be something very positive, something very productive to get our involvement with the city.
Here's a full class photo. Congratulations to all the recent grads. If you are interested in participating in the Leadership Oak Ridge program, head over to the Oak Ridge Chamber website. Here's that info for you. There are scholarships available for this, and the deadline for applications is August 1st. That's it for this month, but we've got a whole lot planned for you in August. We're going to bring you coverage of a big groundbreaking for EM's new disposal facility. Plans are also underway for more solar power in Oak Ridge. We'll talk about that initiative. And like many of you, we are so excited to finally watch the Oppenheimer movie hitting theaters in July. Our team is sitting down with a historian to see if it was an accurate portrayal. And we have an employee who's shooting his way to nationals. His basketball team has its sights set on the National Senior Olympics in Pittsburgh. Thank you for joining us for Energycast. New episodes come out on the third Sunday of the month. You can watch on air and online. We post Energycast episodes on our Facebook and YouTube pages the day after they air. Head on over to follow us on our social media accounts. We are always happy to answer questions and share information with you there as well. And remember, if you work in environmental management in Oak Ridge, keep us in mind if you come across a story. We are always looking for news tips and story ideas from across the reservation. Email your idea to oakridgeem@orem.doe.gov. Let us know there. You might just see it right here. See you next time.